my shirts, why I eat at the buffet. Butter, you got your very own kind of nice. We all live inside a butter world. Oh, butter, gonna eat it by the sticks tonight. Gonna eat out this world. Oh, butter, I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream, what I dream about all night. Butter dreaming, I'm about to take a bite, 'cause I want that salty cream, what I dream about all.
Welcome everyone to a Monday Night Live with Butterfield. We are joined by our wonderful co-host, Mr. Anderson. That way, there we go. Nailed it on the first time.
We're switched this time.
Yeah, we switched this time.
Yeah. What's going on, Jay? It's
All
another
good.
warm evening over here in San Salvador.
Oh, that's lovely, man. That is lovely. Here it's probably freezing. 37 right now.
Probably.
It's 37 Fahrenheit. That's about what 2 or 3 Celsius. But then I just heard that the wind conditions make it feel like it's negative something Celsius or below freezing Fahrenheit. Fun stuff, man. Fun stuff. But the days are getting brighter now. Officially, right? So officially, according to the official records, today is a spring equinox, meaning equal day, equal night. And from here on forward, it's going to be greater light than dark. So use this to your advantage.
That's right. That's right. Traditionally, many cultures would use the spring equinox to mark the beginning of a new year, because this is the time where you plant the seeds that then you will be harvesting later after the summer. So, really take this time to set out intentions for what you wish to achieve for the next season, for the next year.
Yeah,
Get stronger, get healthier, become harder to kill. The world needs you to be strong. We want you to be strong. This is why we're doing this work. So,
exactly.
yeah. So, before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, of course. We do Monday Night Lives every week. We start by doing a Q&A live on Instagram. Then we head on over to YouTube, where we do our Monday Night Live show. Join our private Discord. It's free. We hold weekly Zoom meetings. Right now, they're being held on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's just the time to catch up on the monthly challenge. We're going to be catching up on that. And talk about health, nutrition, fitness, and beyond. Carnivore diet is a big red pill, but once you become red pilled on nutrition, you start going down many other rabbit holes. So, we welcome any and all kinds of conversations. Really, it's just a space to have uncensored talk and, away from the algorithm controllers that eventually will put us off their platforms like Instagram and TikTok or Twitter, whatever you believe of that.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time, guys. So join our private group and buy our merch. Make Butter great again. Hats. We have lots of merch. Great conversation starters. It's a great way to support the show. Organic on t-shirts. High quality products only. So.
Yes. Let's get started.
Yeah.
All
we have
right.
a great show planned today. Crispy truth about bacon.
The crispy truth about bacon.
Yeah.
Monday Night Live
Don't be
episode
afraid.
15. Let's go.
15.
Yeah. All right, getting started. Just some housekeeping items like pull-ups March, right? We have our own Discord server, our own Discord group. This is our community group, and we're doing for the month of March, we're doing a pull-up challenge. At least 10 pull-ups a day. They could be assisted pull-ups. And everyone can participate who is in our group. This is the current leaderboard, right? Pull-ups has been the least participated of the all challenges. It seems like this is a weak area for a lot of people. right? Not many people are afraid of pull-ups because it means carrying your own weight, quite literally. Are you capable of carrying your own weight? It looks like only 5 out of everyone else in the group is doing it. Um,
Yeah,
so
we were afraid this was gonna happen, but people
yeah,
wanted pull-ups. So
yeah. But we got some good participation. You know, Astro Treble with 550 points or pull-ups, right? The system calls it points, but each point is one pull-up. Joy with 500, myself with 442, just ahead of Rashford by 2. And Mr. Anderson with a solid 60. Nice, man. You're killing it.
shame on me.
uh,
I don't have a pull-up bar,
yeah,
so
yeah,
so
yeah.
I could only do 60 air pull-ups.
Just hang yourself by the air.
Yeah. I lost the ability to do so. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah,
Last week, we did a great episode on our study club, a food first approach to muscle protein synthesis post exercise, right? Protein first for max gains. You know, I love this topic because it really aligns with what we do. We are true advocates of real food, real human food, uh, food from nature to humans, the gift of nature to humans via animals and animal fat and animal protein. Uh, it all gets covered here. You know, whole food is better than your isolated protein compounds, basically.
exactly. Pretty much. And different foods will have different impact, like milk, or eggs, or meat.
Beef. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to learn about that? Go check it out.
Yes. All right. The crispy truth about bacon.
Yeah. So we'll be covering lots of information. Many people are scared of bacon for the right reasons or for the wrong reasons. We're hoping that by the end of today, you'll learn a bit about, well, many things. First and foremost, the good about bacon, which often goes unspoken. Um, the bad
True.
about bacon, yeah, what the real concern is, or the concerns are, a bit of the history of curing meats, common source of nitrates, dietary sources, of course, PUFA in bacon, right? One of the main talking points against bacon, and any actions you may take if you are still concerned after reviewing all the information and deciding for yourself out of a place of education and not out of a place of fear, which is really what we're looking to do, just inform, right? Full disclosure, we eat bacon, and we've been advocating for animal foods for years now, and we have yet to be funded by big meat. So if you work
Unfortunately.
with big meat, talk to us. We'd love
Yes.
to shill for you.
Yes, definitely. All right. So, what is good in bacon? Right. Let's kick off with an easy one. Right. So here we're borrowing from that episode that we just talked about from Study Club, uh, protein. So, what is good about bacon? Protein. It's good quality protein. It's high in the DIAS and PDCAA score. That means how good is your body at absorbing and digesting this protein. So these tables are your reference points. You see pork over here has a DIA score greater than 1, pork 1.14. And these are your animal derived foods. Your animal derived foods are your best protein sources, as you can see from the tables in front of you. Look at the non-animal derived foods. Um, Look at cereal. Cereal is complete trash. It's not a good protein source. Whatever protein is in there shouldn't even count towards your protein total of the day.
Dude, I would even say any plant-based protein is not real protein. I know expert nerds will hate me for that, but it's pretty clear. Animal protein is the standard of protein. Anything else is nothing but an approximation and shouldn't be relied or even counted towards your protein intake. That's just my
Yes.
opinion, though.
Yeah, no, yeah. I fully support that. I fully support that. So to take a little bit step further, right? Here's a study that says, pork products have digestible, indispensable amino acid scores, your DIAS, that are greater than 100, when determining pigs. But processing does not always increase DIAS. So like making it, like cooking it, doesn't really increase the DIAS. So yeah, in the second screenshot, all pork products had a DIAS greater than 100. Loin heated at 63 Celsius had greater greatest DIAS for children, so on and so forth. Heat it up, and then DIAS. You know, pretty much no change in DIAS between heating it. Uh, Conclusion: basically, bacon, ham, loin are excellent protein sources with DIAS greater than 100. Again, this is your digestible, indispensable amino acid score. So um, it is a measurement of how good protein source it is. So that's pork.
Yeah. Well, that's protein.
That's protein. Protein
Yeah.
in pork.
Next up we have choline. It's an essential nutrient. You can't make it. It must be eaten, right? Bacon contains 125 milligrams of choline per 100 grams of meat, making it one of the top 5 sources of dietary choline. Fun fact: eggs are also a great source.
Yes.
Antioxidant activity superior to vitamin E. So what we're getting from this choline is good, right?
Sir.
It's required for brain health and activity. So choline, your body will make like acetylcholine from it, which is a neurotransmitter, which explains, it's required for nervous system function, memory, and mood, plus more.
Yeah.
Choline, it's got an impact on muscle movement, liver function, and metabolism. And last but not least, higher choline intake is associated with reduced risk of heart disease. And of course, Jay did a wonderful job of including a study here that reads dietary choline and betaine intakes and risk of cardiovascular diseases, review of epidemiological evidence. The conclusion reads, long-term consumption of these nutrients have been shown to prevent CVD mortality by decreasing inflammation and other risk factors.
Yeah. So it was, there is some sort of association. Doesn't seem like to be too significant, but however, at the same time, it seems like choline has been shown to prevent CVD, right? By decreasing inflammation. So that's interesting, right? Because it is choline is found in animal foods, and the same animal foods that people tell you are trying to kill you of this same disease.
So which is it? Is it trying to kill you, or is it beneficial? Oh, I'm so confused.
I think that's the purpose. Just to confuse you so you accept whatever nonsense comes to you.
Yeah, and that's our mission, right? To dismantle this perverse food agenda.
Yeah.
Because it's a complicated world out there, but it's actually pretty simple.
Yes.
So taste.
Yeah. Here I just wanted an easy slide. Taste. Obviously, it should be mentioned. What's good about bacon is taste. How it looks versus how it tastes. Bacon is like a high five in my mouth, and the only kind of bacon, the turkey bacon that I will accept, right? Which is a turkey wrapped up in bacon.
Yeah. Sorry, halal folks. This is totally haram. Haram. Sorry.
Yes.
Consider converting to Christianity. So just temporarily try some bacon and then decide.
A very, very interesting approach to religion. Yes. The other side is about healthy fats. Everyone talks about healthy fats. What's a healthy fat? Healthy monounsaturated fat. I think that one is probably not a controversial topic at all. People say, why is monounsaturated fat healthy? It's because comes from olive oil. Olive oil, lower heart disease, right? Guess what? Let's look at bacon. Bacon is high in monounsaturated fat. So here on the right, you'll see a chart that we put together. Per 100 grams, right? Per 100 grams, olive oil has 72 grams monounsaturated fat. Per 100 grams, lard has 45 grams of monounsaturated fat. And bacon, per 100 grams of bacon, right? Not like bacon fat, but the bacon entire product, 100 grams of bacon, will have 18 grams of monounsaturated fat, 13 grams of saturated fat, and four or five-ish grams of polyunsaturated fat, right? So just looking at these proportions, bacon, pork products are higher in monounsaturated fat compared to the other fats, right? So seems like a pretty good source of monounsaturated fat.
Yeah, interesting. This data point you show here will even have bacon having a lower PUFA content than olive oil.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is 100 grams of bacon, right? So, like, this is just the fat component of the 100 grams. Because it also has protein within those 100 grams. That's why the
Oh, I see. That's right.
yeah.
Yes, so my analysis was not fair. My apologies.
But it is a good point, right? Polyunsaturated fat is actually one of the lowest content in bacon and lard. Something we'll address further on ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah. So you do have lard here. So I mean, it is comparable.
Yeah.
The amount of PUFA. So basically, you could say lard is better than olive oil. If we accept that saturated fat is the best kind of fat, better than MUFA, for the same reasons that MUFA is better than PUFA. But anyways, I'm digressing.
Yes. And I just have one more point on this, right? Because I had that screenshot of an overview in molecular effects of oleic acid. Oleic acid is your monounsaturated fat in health and disease, right? So here I'm just going to read a few lines. Olive oil rich in oleic acid is supposed to present modulatory effects in wide physiological functions, right? Such as being beneficial in cancer, autoimmune, and inflammatory diseases. It's still controversial, but the administration of olive oil containing diets may improve immune response associated to more successful elimination of pathogens, such as bacteria and fungi. Jumping ahead a little bit more. Finally, the purpose of this work was to review the modulatory effects of oleic acid on inflammatory diseases and health, aiming at highlighting its potential role in the future establishment of novel therapeutic approaches for infections, inflammatory, immune, cardiovascular disease, and skin repair on this fatty acid mainly found in Mediterranean diet, right? So this paper is obviously talking about the monounsaturated fat in olive oil. But then again, I wanted to put in the same slide the monounsaturated fat content of lard or of bacon, right? Sure, per 100 grams, olive oil has a lot more, but relatively within the same food product, lard, monounsaturated fat is the highest. All right.
That's right. Yeah. So we covered, protein, choline, and healthy fats being the good part of bacon. And then, of course, taste, of course.
Taste, yes.
Bacon is happiness. So now we get to the juicy part of the presentation, right? What is the bad about bacon? So we'll talk about fats. Nothing unusual there. The PUFAs, of course, one of the biggest talking points against bacon or pork within the low-carb, keto, animal-based community. Nitrates, oh my God, is that a word for a chemical? Avoid that at all costs. And then, we'll be answering the question, will bacon kill me? Is bacon bad? what might you do? The answer is no,
Yeah.
guys. Relax. There's too much fear out there. I hate fear porn, and I hate using the word hate. But if there's one thing I do not approve of, is fear porn.
Yes.
But onto the topic of saturated fat. Easy thing to debunk. We covered this in great depth in our study club episode, where we sat down and reviewed a review paper. I believe it was a review paper.
Yes.
Replacing sat fat with carbohydrates gives rise to proatherogenic dyslipidemia. Proatherogenic dyslipidemia is just a fancy way of saying, it contributes towards artery clogging and, a poor lipid profile. Not good. And then, of course, low-grade systemic inflammation and insulin resistance. That is the bigger issue, rather than being concerned about saturated fats. And what causes insulin resistance and low-grade systemic inflammation? Having high blood glucose, hypertension. And reactive oxygen species in your system. What causes that? Anything with the word refined in it: refined grains, sugars, oils. Right? All increase cardiovascular disease.
Yeah. All these things like inflammation and insulin resistance are actually cardiovascular risk factors. All right. So bacon is high in PUFA. That is like the first argument, one of the first arguments or main arguments against bacon. This comes from, pork is fed soy, therefore all pork products are high in omega-6, the inflammatory alpha-linoleic acid. Right? So that's it's a sensible argument, but we already touched on this a little bit on the prior slide, but we'll get into it. But first, let's just establish that omega-6 is an essential fatty acid. So let's just acknowledge that it is essential. Right? You need to eat it. When it says something is essential, it means it must come from a dietary source. So you have to eat it. Now, why is the omega-6 bad? Is because, right, the idea that seed oils are high in PUFAs, so therefore pork just is a little bit higher in PUFA relative to the other meats. Therefore, pork is now super high in PUFA, so now is bad. So we're gonna touch on this.
And just to add to that point, Jay, the reasons why we don't like seed oils, right? The reasons why seed oils should be minimized is because not only are they high in PUFA in their overall composition of the fat, but they undergo intense processing by being reheated and washed with chemicals repeated times, and they leading to the oxidation of those PUFAs, and which will just continue oxidating further once they're bottled and sitting on the shelf. And it is the oxidation of the PUFAs that is it's harmful. It's not appropriate. It's not congruent with the fats that we've been consuming, especially when you're consuming deep fried foods. The oils get reused, and so the toxic byproducts just keep on accumulating. That is very different picture from cooking some pork belly, or having some bacon. Very different pictures, and you shouldn't conflate the two, right? Because seed oil should be avoided for very good reasons, but those are not the same reasons you should be afraid of pork. Just putting that out there, and of course, we'll explain further.
Yes. No, exactly. That I think that is the crux of the point that we're trying to make. So, all right, let's look at the fat composition, right? You're saying, people are saying, yeah, pork is high, PUFAs, whatever, whatnot. So here I put a table of not all, but a lot of fats. So oils and your animal fats. This table is currently sorted by MUFAs, monounsaturated fat. So what's highest in monounsaturated fat? You have olive oil, canola, and then lard, right? That's interesting to note. Because we
Yeah.
were talking
So,
about monos.
so is canola oil healthy now?
That's also very interesting, right? Canola,
Yeah.
is it healthy now?
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to highlight butter, of course, because we are butter fueled. You know, per 100 grams, 21 of those grams will be monounsaturated fats. 51 will be saturated fats, and then bacon over here. Um, you know, again, this is 100 grams of bacon, so there's protein in it as well. That counts as part of that 100 grams. But if you look at the fatty acid composition of 100 grams of bacon, you still see that MUFA is the highest out of all the rest of the two fats, the other fats. Um, and yeah, here I just have some screenshots of where I got the data from. Right, nutrition facts: 100 grams of bacon, 541 calories. The fats, proteins, 37 grams of protein in there. So that's good too. So here, just to see it differently, um, so yeah, lard has closely the same amount of PUFA in olive oil. So here we highlighted lard and olive oil, right? Lard is 11.2 grams PUFA, olive oil is 10.5 grams. What's that? 0.7 grams, right? So that's a rounding thing. They closely have the same amount, lard and olive oil. And that's the thing, people who the same people who tell you the pork is high in PUFAs are the same people that are out there consuming olive oil. So, um, what world do you live in?
Yeah. I think Jay, I'm actually surprised. I never realized this until today. Um, Lard and olive oil actually have pretty similar PUFA content. Um,
I know, right?
yeah, and I think that's if anyone listening to this takes away one point from this show is that you know uh, lard is better than olive oil. If you accept that saturated fats are better, right? Then when you
Yeah.
look at it as a whole, then it's a no-brainer. Lard is superior to olive oil. Yet they will tell you, you know, olive oil and coconut oil are fine, but you want to minimize the pork because it's, as you said, it's fed soybeans and corn, so it's high in PUFA. They're monogastrics. They're not ruminants. So, oh my God, I must minimize all PUFAs in my diet, all omega 6s in my diet, and we didn't even look at the omega 6 ratios here, but
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
googled it. And ah man, I wish. Yeah, but I'll just tell you, the ratios omega 6 to omega 3 ratios. Olive oil is 13.2. Okay, 13. Olive oil 13. Lard 7. Omega 6 to 3 ratios. So lard even has a better omega 6 ratio than olive oil,
Wow.
and I didn't learn that until today. So that, I mean,
There,
that's pretty cut and clear. Lard is superior, and the PUFA thing, is a non-issue. Anyone who's advocating for olive oil and telling you to minimize lard is just repeating something that they heard online and not something that they've thought about critically. But man, this is
yeah.
gonna be a big one once we push that out. I'm really glad we discovered that today.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. It is crazy. The same people that tell you olive oil is better than pork because of the omega 6 it's the same. It's like, obviously, once you look at this is the thing about having beliefs given to you versus finding the truth for yourself, right? Clearly, this is the data. It's simple counting. Um,
Simple counting, yeah.
Simple counting just debunks all of that. And I wanted to highlight butter because we're butter fueled, super low in PUFAs, uh, high in SFAs, saturated fatty acids. Our stance on that. And MUFAs also, 21. That's good. I'll take it. Uh,
Very good.
Now, a key point also that we want to highlight here is the gap between lard and canola oil. Canola oil has 2.6 times the PUFA content of lard. Okay, so I think that actually does merit a high PUFA status, right? Um, that is significant. Quantity-wise, that is very significant.
Yeah, yeah. The net amount you'd be getting of PUFAs from canola oil, it's a different story now. And fun fact, the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is 2 in canola oil. So canola oil actually has one of the better, supposedly better ratios, because you'll hear like, why are omega-6 bad? Because of the ratios. Well, really what we should be focusing on is the net amounts that you're ingesting when you're consuming these fats.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no, that was good. That was good. And then the other point is sunflower oil. So the top of the list, 65 grams. So if you were to consume 100 grams of sunflower, or 65 of those grams would be PUFAs. That's 5.87 times more PUFA than lard. So again, do you really think pork or bacon or lard, all pork fats, are they really that high? So is it do you really think is it really that high? No. These top section over here, from canola oil to sunflower oil, you could even go sesame oil and above. That's significant. That is a big amount. That's a high amount. And here, because we love charts, here's just a different view of the table, right? So sunflower at the top, 65 of those grams out of 100 grams is polyunsaturated fat. Right at the midsection, we have lard and olive oil neck to neck with each other, closely the same amount of polyunsaturated fat, olive oil just being greater in mono and lard being greater in saturated fat. That's the main distinction. Also including bacon here. Again, you see the same ratio of higher mono, second highest is saturated fat, and third lowest is PUFA. So objectively, we can state that pork products are not high in PUFAs. They're not high. That's the end of this. Pork products are not high in PUFAs. Period.
I don't ever want to hear this again. Yeah. Am I the only one here?
And then, of course, super honorable mention to butter, our favorite product.
Yeah. We're butter fueled, but we're pro all animal fats, all animal foods, and animal fats we trust. It's that simple. But moving on, so we talked about saturated fats, we talked about the PUFAs. Now we're going to move on to the nitrates concern, right?
Yes.
Which is, labeled as a concern. So why is it a concern? Processed meats like bacon have been associated with cancer and heart disease. They are a class 1 carcinogen as per the WHO. And Jay, can you open that link? I just want to highlight, this is an article from The Guardian. Of course, very, very newsworthy, very trustworthy media source, trying to convince you that bacon is killing you. It's killing you. Those are the kinds of headlines you'll get from the mainstream media when they're trying to fearmonger you into being afraid of bacon.
Sorry, I almost got it.
That's okay. So, if you're listening to this, everything's shown on screen. But I just want to, I don't want to read the article. I mean, it's bogus, right? You have some writer who doesn't really understand what they're writing about. They're just, repeating what someone else said. But yeah, the big headline is, yes, bacon really is killing you, That's it. That's all I wanted to show. And then the sad picture, of course.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but they say decades worth of research proves that chemicals used to make bacon do cause cancer. So how did the meat industry convince us it was safe? And don't worry, I'm going to convince you the chemicals they use are completely safe. So,
Love
we'll
it.
get into it. This is a very deep topic, and I think uh, it warrants a lot of explanation. But just moving on, further explaining the concern, right? So we have the nitrates. We have association of bacon with cancer, the WHO labeling, and then we also have mechanistic studies that suggest nitrates will form nitrosamines, which combine with heme iron or amines from protein, and they form nitrosamines, nitrous amines, which then leads to cancer. More specifically, gut cancer, colorectal cancer. That is the belief. So you will have some observational data linking processed meats to cancer, and then you'll have some mechanistic data linking these salts, these curing salts, to the formation of these carcinogenic compounds, nitrosamines, and then there you have the leap of faith, right? Remember the leap of faith, right? You have the observational data, and then you have the mechanistic data, and then you're going to make the conclusion, therefore, that processed meats like bacon cause colorectal cancer because of the salts, right? That's a leap of faith here, and that's obviously easily disprovable. Observational data. What else were they consuming? Was this a healthy population? What meat were they eating? In what context, right? And we'll explain all of that.
That's
So
very well said.
Yeah. So and those are just the two concerns when it comes to the nitrates. Okay. So I just really want you to remember those, right? Epidemiology and the mechanistic studies of the formation of these compounds. But moving on. But I think this is a good place to ask the question: why is bacon cured in the first place? What is it? Why did they add the nitrites to it? What is that doing there? Why are they adding filthy chemicals to my bacon? Is it a filthy chemical in the first place, right? And this is where this rabbit hole gets really, really interesting. So why is bacon cured in the first place? For a lot of history, saltpeter, a naturally occurring sodium or potassium nitrate salt, has been used for curing meats, making gunpowder, treating angina, and even for fertilizer. Okay, next slide, please. Saltpeter. Yes, saltpeter has even been regarded as a mysterious divine compound by our traditional ancient cultures, even described as the spirit of the earth by indigenous cultures and just historically, right? For saltpeter, again, potassium or sodium nitrate salts that occur naturally, they're found everywhere around the world. Yes, you can go on. Fun fact: the oldest mummies on Earth, the Chinchorro mummies in the Atacama Desert from Chile and Peru, were preserved with saltpeter. Now, Jay, look at that mummy. Tell me, how old do you think that mummy is?
Wow.
The oldest mummies on Earth.
Wow. Yeah, on Earth, I have no idea. Probably millions. No, that'd be too crazy, right?
Say anything. Yeah. Okay, a million years. Do you want a second guess?
Okay, maybe 100,000.
Okay. No, it's not that interesting, but the oldest mummies on Earth are, they're dated to 7,000 BC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I'm very clueless on this.
Yeah, well, it was before, I suppose, so that puts it at we're in the year 2000, maybe ballpark 9,000, 10,000 years old. These mummies, and well, that's obviously a picture of one of them in the desert, but the point is that desert is one of the highest. It's got one of the highest concentrations of naturally occurring saltpeter in the world. So these mummies were inadvertently preserved because of the high concentrations of saltpeter, right? So the point of that is, it's been known for a lot of our history the effects that saltpeter has on meat and on preserving bodies, right? And it only makes logical sense that, ancient cultures would try to preserve bodies using similar methods to which they used to preserve meats, right? So if you look at traditional preservation methods, you're looking at obviously salting, things like smoking and dehydrating. You smoke it over a fire. We didn't have refrigeration back in the day, so they were very resourceful with that. And it's very, very likely that they used these same methods to preserve the bodies of people who would, move on to the next life. So go on to the next slide. So, one of the many fathers of curing, Dr. Ed Polensky, in 1891, speculated that nitrates converted to nitrites via microbial action, and then this was confirmed to be true, right? So nitrates were then replaced with nitrites after World War I. So remember, the natural saltpeter, was a form of sodium or potassium nitrate, right? It was then discovered. You can move on to the next slide because that's where I explain this. There's a diagram, which shows on the right. Nitrates will convert to nitrites, and the nitrites will decompose to nitric oxide in our bodies, right? So basically, when they discovered that, nitrite decomposes to nitrites, nitrate decomposes to nitrites, just want to make sure I'm saying it properly. Nitrates to nitrites, they replaced the nitrate salts with nitrites to expedite the curing process for meats. That was the logical conclusion that they arrived to once they learned what the actual effect of curing the meats, right? So that's why all the bacon today is going to have sodium nitrite, not nitrate. Okay, so do you think that's a matter of concern? Well, it's a matter of practicality and efficiency. But then we get to the truth of nitrates, right? Most of our nitrite exposure is made endogenously. Bacteria in our saliva will be responsible for 70 to 90% of our nitrite exposure alone.
Wow.
Okay, and in this diagram, what the diagram shows, if you start from the top left, it shows nitrate and some nitrites from food. They get into our mouth, and bacteria in the oral cavity reduce nitrate to nitrite. Okay, so again, remember that step. In the gastric acidic milieu, a non-enzymatic reduction of nitrite to nitric oxide occurs. And then nitrite and remaining nitrites are absorbed in the intestine. Nitrite is excreted by the kidneys. Nitrates and nitrites in the blood originate from the food and from systemic nitric oxide production. And there is an active uptake of nitrate from the blood that occurs in the salivary glands. So I don't know if that made sense, but just to recap, traditionally, historically, culturally, saltpeter was used, which was a sodium nitrate salt. In 1891, scientists discovered that the mechanism by which the meat is cured is because nitrate decomposes to nitrite via bacterial interaction, right? So then they realized, why don't we just skip this step and cure our meats with nitrites so it's faster, right? Actually, Jay, can you go back to the previous slide? I forgot to mention one point. The picture there, that's prosciutto and jamon iberico, which are, traditionally regarded as, they're cured forms of ham. One is Italian, one is from Spain, but these are actually cured with traditional saltpeter, and that gives it their that characteristic look and flavor. Prosciutto is delicious, of course, and jamon iberico, if you've ever tried it, it's like the same thing, but in Spanish. Very, very delicious. So those two hams are still use the old method. So that's why they're aged for longer, and they're a higher price ham. Okay, as opposed to bacon, you can go on to the next slide. As opposed to bacon, they'll use the nitrite because it's just faster. They're skipping that step. Okay, so it's a matter of being industrial with it. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense, Jay?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. You find nitrates naturally including nitrates, and then your body just takes all of that and converts most of it into nitrite, and then to nitric oxide.
Yeah,
Um,
and nitric oxide. Now, should that be a cause for concern? Should you be afraid of bacon because of the sodium nitrates in it? Well, not really, because, and if we go on to the next slide, you'll see that, again, most of the nitrate intake is made endogenously, but then, the truth about nitrates is that vegetables and fruits are also very high in both nitrates and nitrites, and I actually have a study here to back that up. And we're just going to read briefly from it because, we're nearing the hour. If
yeah,
you
we got
scroll
15
down,
minutes.
food sources of nitrates and nitrites, the physiologic context for potential health benefits, right? So this is discussing potential health benefits of them. But there is a point that says, it's like the fourth sentence from the top down. If you can highlight it, Jay, where it says approximately 80% of dietary nitrates are derived from vegetable consumption. Sources of nitrites include vegetables, fruits, and processed meats.
There you go.
So we have a data point here stating approximately 80% of dietary nitrates come from vegetable consumption. So are nitrates harmful when they come in bacon, but then they're beneficial when they come in from vegetables? Is that what we're supposed to believe? So,
Yeah. Another paradox spotted.
Yeah, another paradox, Again, bacon has choline. Choline is good for cardiovascular disease, but bacon also has saturated fat, which contributes to your cardiovascular disease. So which is it? Does it help or does it contribute to disease? It's like the same thing we're seeing here. So does it contribute to colorectal cancer or does it protect against it, right? So, and then the next slide, digging into the truth about nitrates, we see this. I have a study here, a review of potential cardiovascular benefits of dietary nitrates and nitrites, right? So, and then, yeah. So, what benefits might there be, if any, to the consumption of nitrates? And you can just skip. Dietary nitrite and nitrate, a review of potential mechanisms of cardiovascular benefits. And you can just skip to the conclusion. We don't have to get into it. This might make a good paper for a study club.
I like it.
But, I'll just read from the conclusion. Dietary nitrite and nitrate may have cardiovascular protective effects in both healthy individuals and also those with cardiovascular disease conditions. A role for nitrite and nitrate in nitric oxide biosynthesis and or in improving nitric oxide bioavailability may eventually provide a rationale for using dietary nitrite and nitrate supplementation in the treatment and prevention of cardiovascular diseases. So there you have it. Bacon bad, but nitrates and nitrites, you should even supplement them.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. I don't ever want to hear again someone telling me they don't eat bacon because of PUFAs or because of the nitrates, okay? And, and because of this fear-mongering, you can go back to the slides, because of the fear-mongering of nitrates, now you'll find nitrate-free bacon. But what you'll find is what they add instead is celery powder, or they'll add like some vitamin C or other junk. And basically, vegetables are higher in nitrates. So when you're adding celery powder, you're really doing the same thing. Except, you don't have, a nasty chemical name on it. That's really all you're avoiding. But, if you're concerned about the nitrates, then you're still getting them through the celery powder. So is that a net benefit? I mean, I don't really want plant powder on my bacon. I want the real saltpeter stuff, which, you can't really seem to get either on bacon. But if you're eating prosciutto or jamon iberico, then you're getting it through there. But anyways, I was going to talk about some of the benefits of nitric oxide. As you know, nitric oxide is a potent vasodilator, right? So that's why we have a picture here of Jay's very vascular arms.
It's all from the bacon.
It's all the bacon, man. The more bacon, and we made a post about this on Instagram. Bacon has contributes to nitric oxide production, is one of the reasons why people recommend, eating or drinking beetroot juice, because beetroot is very high in nitrates, and and again, these turn to nitric oxide in your body, right? Through your saliva and digestion, it turns to nitric oxide, a very potent vasodilator, and that obviously has benefits in, reducing cardiovascular risk, and it's got athletic benefits to it as well. So, which is it? We don't live in a paradoxical world. Is bacon contributing to heart disease, or the nitrates contributing to cancer? But then it's also protective. Which is it really? And it's we're presented the data here, and maybe nitrates we can go further in depth at some other point, because nitric oxide is interesting. But there you have it. Curing meats is as old as mummifying bodies. And really, if you dive into the history, you get into that was in Chile and Peru, but there's a lot of rich history in curing meats in China, from the Roman Empire. Saltpeter was a valuable commodity. It was used for explosives, fertilizer, and for curing meats. Crazy, right? You're eating fertilizer, you're eating explosives, but it's a naturally occurring salt. That's the whole point. We can move on. Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up because we're at minute 51. So just to summarize, are you worried about bacon or anything? You should check your ingredients. Be a detective as always. Usually we try to minimize if it has sugar. It's gonna be very low amounts of sugar, but why is it there in the first place? It's for flavor. I don't need it. And then you don't want to keep an eye out for weird additives like triphosphate preservatives. Those should be minimized or just completely avoided. Again, there might be other things in the bacon other than sodium nitrite that you don't really want it to be there, depending on the brand. Next slide, please. Don't char your meats. There's the concern that the nitrates, when they react with heat, they form these compounds. However, there's really no evidence. Remember the 2 points I mentioned: the nitrates, the epidemiology, and then the mechanistic studies. There's no studies actually detecting these carcinogenic compounds in meat itself, and if it does, it's below detectable levels. So it doesn't really seem to be a valid concern. But in case you are concerned, you want to minimize the charring on your meats. That's the whole point. Because the high heat will react to make the nitrosamines. But again, there's no evidence that we could find showing the identifying of these compounds in food you cooked, right? There are mechanistic studies showing that those reactions occur, but again, these reactions are not occurring in the cooking. Okay, no evidence of that. Wait, you missed a point in the previous one. Bacon and cured meats are delicious snacks. Obviously, big point.
Very key point.
Yeah, they're delicious, man, and enjoy your food. Like, stop falling for all the fear porn. Bacon is healthier than olive oil. There you have it, guys. You heard it here first. That's how this show is serious. We're trying to contribute to the space, and actually putting in the effort ourselves to, man, that's just such a great find. Bacon is a health food. Take that, haters, suckers, and sorry, halal folks.
Yes, sir.
Moving on.
Yes, sir.
Bacon contains choline, strong antioxidant. It's used in the production of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. It's good for brain. It's good for a wide number of things. The more nutrients, good. And then, bacon boasts lots of healthy fats. It's healthier than olive oil, for crying out loud.
That monounsaturated fat and saturated fat content. Pretty
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. And then, of course, bacon boosts anyone's mood at any time. Seriously, I don't think anyone's felt worse after eating bacon than they did before. And, if you want to exercise caution, you want to avoid the foods commonly consumed with processed meats, processed meats like hot dogs, right? So you want to minimize things like ketchup, which is just high fructose corn syrup and tomato juice concentrate mixed together. Disgusting. Buns. Most bread today, if not all bread, at least in the U.S., it's just like fake Play-Doh bread. It's just really look at the ingredients. It's not. Some people will say bread isn't inherently unhealthy, but most bread, by all means, is just garbage. So minimize that. Sugary sodas, beer, etc. So again, remember the epidemiology. In what context are these people eating processed meats? Processed meats, bacon, hot dogs. You're probably tailgating some football game and not making the best decisions while you're eating those processed meats. So that's why it would make sense for it to be grouped together as a class 1 carcinogen by the WHO. Healthy user bias. Same old story for why red meat is classified as a class 2 carcinogen, which we've addressed before. We've debunked that in our previous episodes easily. Does red meat cause colorectal cancer? It does not. But that wraps it up. Lots of information. Had to keep it under an hour. We're at minute 56. So if you guys have any questions, we have a few people watching. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here with us. It means the world to us. If you could just drop us a comment so we can know who's watching, give you a shout out. If you have any questions, do you eat bacon? Were you worried that it should be minimized before this? Are your concerns put to rest? Do you still avoid bacon? One thing I should add, if you're really, really concerned, if you really want to optimize your nutrition to be a purist, which, if that's what you want, that's totally cool. Opt for pork belly. It's just uncured bacon. And even buy some saltpeter and try curing it yourself for fun. I think that might be a fun experiment to try. Should you want to do that? Should you want to, should you avoid bacon? If you want to be a purist, maybe. If you want to set out the goal that you should minimize your PUFA intake to 0, which,
it's an essential fatty acid. Come on.
Exactly. It is an essential fatty acid. Then sure, avoid pork, avoid bacon. I think that as long as you're avoiding seed oils, being concerned about pork is kind of laughable, especially after we just demonstrated it's healthier than olive oil. Jeez.
I know, man. I know.
Oh, man. I'm not going to let this one go at all. And then, should you want to treat yourself, go buy some prosciutto di Parma, straight out of Italy. Go buy some jabón ibérico, straight out of Spain. Delicious meat.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching, make sure you please like. Don't forget to like. It helps tremendously. And, join our Discord. If you have any further questions, any further concerns you want us to debunk, we're happy to do that because we believe in animal foods.
Animal foods got your back.
Exactly. Animals were put on this earth for our benefit, and
it's very clear.
They're part of nature. We are part of nature, and as such, it is our duty to carry the burden of that responsibility and act responsibly, right? I wish we could all raise our own animals, but we don't. It's not that simple.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but I think we can. I think
we're not there yet. Yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, try to connect with your local farmer, things like that. Build your local communities. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna hit the hour mark.
Yes.
Any questions?
We did it under an hour, man.
Yeah. Nitrates. The history of nitrates. Really, I think I would love to cover that topic at a future point, just because there is a lot there. But yeah, that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Share this with your friends. Tell them bacon is a health food. It's even healthier than olive oil. If there's a key takeaway, is that bacon is not high in PUFA. Nitrates are not a concern. Like if anything, they're ancestrally consistent. Go like, share our content, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, buy our merch, support the show, and if you'd like to work with us, we do offer 2-on-1 consultations.
Let's go.
Yeah, walk you through all the process, help you on your health and fitness goals with an animal-based approach, carnivore or not. We're ready to find an animal-based diet that is appropriate and sustainable for you. Anything else, Jay?
No, I love this episode. So many things that we covered here. The fatty acid composition, the PUFA argument, the nitrites. That's always a mouthful. Trying to pronounce them both
my God,
differently. Yeah. Nitrites. I'm having a hard time using my mouth saying that. But but all pretty good topics, of course. Address the concern of cancer, right? Because it comes from nitrates or nitrites. While at the same time, fruits and vegetables, right? They're also pretty high on it, and they're the ones that are actually protective towards cancer. So no, we don't live in a paradoxical world where we get healthy and we're at the same time we get more diseased. No, the foods that make us healthy are not trying to kill us at the same time. Yeah, man. And the short answer is enjoy some bacon, man. Makes you happy, makes you feel good, it tastes good. I wonder why, huh? Because you're healthy, huh? Now
Exactly. Animal foods are proof that what tastes good is not bad for you.
Yeah, man. You nailed it with that George Orwell quote from 1984. The state will have successfully won once people don't accept what their eyes and ears are telling them. That will be the greatest victory or success. Same with the taste
something
buds.
along those lines. But
I paraphrased it.
It's to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, guys. Trust your intuition. See for yourself. I'm not here to tell you to do it my way. I'm just here to show you the information. And you decide for yourself, and let us know in our Discord. Make sure you join.
Yes. And with that all said, wishing everyone a happy, higher-minded, and more nutrient-dense new era.
Yeah. Happy spring, everyone.
Happy spring.
Butter! Gonna eat it by the stick tonight. Gonna eat out this world.